Hi everyone, so the video you're watching now was sent in to me from the dashcam of a client that I worked with after the first session to overcome their fear of driving. In this video I'm going to talk a bit about the results you can see from therapy for overcoming driving anxiety and exactly how they work, because it's not like many people think. My name's Paul and I work online with people all over the world to help them overcome their fear of driving. And there are many misconceptions about exactly how this happens. Some people think that we do one session and it's like waving a magic wand and everything suddenly goes back to how it was and they can go out driving instantly, 10 minutes after a session, it's all done. For some people that is the case, and those are the fortunate ones, because for most people what actually happens is that it's a bit like getting over an illness. You know how when you have flu, you start off by sometimes having like a tickly nose or a sore throat or a cough, and then it develops over the course of a day or two into the full-blown flu. And then what happens is when you start to get better, it gradually goes. And when I have flu, it hangs on for days and days and weeks sometimes, and you're gradually getting better and better and better. Well, it's just how your fear of driving will also go. Many people who come to me say that it started off with just one little thing, like they were scared of driving at high speed, and then it developed so they couldn't drive on main roads, and then it got even worse so they couldn't drive on back roads. But when you get rid of the fear of driving, what you effectively do is reverse that process. That's why I offer people a course of sessions, not too many, because if you take too many, it's almost like saying, well, I booked 10 and it's going to take 10 to get rid of. No, it doesn't work like that. But what I do is not just a one-off thanks, bye. It doesn't work like that. I offer people ongoing support to help them overcome their problem. And I find that very often it goes gradually over the course of several months. So I always say to people, if you're expecting some quick fix solution that's going to happen overnight, well, just be aware that can happen for some, but it doesn't happen for everyone. Another common misconception people have is that when they've done therapy for their fear of driving, they're going to feel better and then they'll go out and drive. And I have quite a few people who come back to me and say, it didn't work because, well, I can't do it, I still don't feel any different. And I'll say to them, have you actually done it then? Have you actually been and driven at high speed since our session? And they say, well, no, because I don't feel any different. Here's the thing. Very often you won't feel different, then go driving. What happens is you go driving and then that makes you feel different. It's a bit like the classic chicken and egg thing, which came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, you need to understand that what we do is we remove the reason for having your anxiety. So it's quite common for people to still feel anxious when they're thinking about driving. It's common for them to go out and start feeling the same things they used to begin with. But the difference is the problem can't load. So it's like you're following a pattern that you've had for years and you think, here we go again, I'm getting a bit nervous, I go out to my car, I still feel nervous, I'm coming up to that bridge, that freeway, whatever your problem is. But then when you actually do it, you're like, oh, well, where's the problem? I actually feel fine. And then the problem just doesn't activate, it doesn't load. And I've said before that it's very much like having an app on your phone. It's a bit like you've deleted all the files behind the scenes and the app is still there apparently. If you click on it though, if you tap on it, it won't actually load because the icon is still there, but all the files behind the scenes have gone. Another way of looking at it, which is actually something I used to describe it with this client, the one who sent me the dashcam footage you're watching now, is that it's a bit like you've got a website and it's been deleted. So if you type in the address, it's not there. But if you go onto a search engine and search for it, it still shows up in the results because it isn't actually there anymore, but the results are still showing. And when you click on them, it's just like it hasn't been updated, the redirects, whatever, haven't been updated yet. That's another way of looking at it. So very often you see, when you work on your fear of driving with me, it doesn't just go instantly. You do need to be prepared to work at it. But where people go wrong is that some people looking at what I'm doing and they say, oh, well, all you're doing is making people drive, so I'm just going to tell people to go out and just force into it, just drive. I've said many times before how that doesn't work, and I'll put a link on the screen now to exposure therapy, a video I did about that and how it fails. You see, what I do is different because we work together to remove the things that cause the bad feelings. Then you have to go out driving. But if you miss out the very important vital step of removing those feelings first, it doesn't matter how much you push, you'll just keep bouncing off against this same horrible feeling. You'll have panic attacks, you'll sweat, and you won't feel like doing it because all you're doing is forcing yourself into the situation, and your mind just digs its heels in. It's like, right, you think you're going to do that, I'm going to make it even worse and worse and worse. If you do what I do and remove those feelings first, you'll still have the memory of them being there. You can't erase people's memories. So when people say, oh, well, I went out to do it and I still felt a bit anxious, you will. That's absolutely fine. You'll feel anxious, but when you actually do it, the anxiety won't kick in. And that is what's really important to understand. These results can take time. You know, there are people out there who I've seen who are charging upwards of £4,000, more than that, for this magic one-off 1 hour result. Well, if you want to believe that, and if you want to pay that, good luck to you. Because my experience is, spoiler alert, it doesn't work. And yes, I've worked with people that have come to me from one person who claims they can do it in 1 hour, and it didn't work. There's a surprise. Check out these other videos on the screen now, and if you want help overcoming your fear of driving anywhere in the world, contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.